I've already been introduced. I'm the City Economic Development Officer for the city of Bulawayo. I've got a short presentation. I am sure it's a short presentation. If you look at the presentation, we are starting with our vision. What is the vision of Bulawayo? We want to be a smart, transformative city by year 2025. And then we have mission. How are we going to achieve that vision to provide quality services to the satisfaction of all stakeholders and clients? And then our values, things that we stand for, those are our values which are listed there. In summary, our economy, if you look at in terms of population, basing on the census statistics, we are around 665. And the temperatures, these are some of the things about Bulawayo. Even the percentage, people per household, we are looking at around 3.7 in Bulawayo. Still on Bulawayo, we are known for tourism, the education sector, the transport. These are some of the things that when you visit Bulawayo as a city, be it you are born from Bulawayo, you can enjoy or curate experiences around Bulawayo where you can visit like Inwala site, Makokoba, where you can even visit the museum, which is the best museum in Bulawayo. As a city, we have investment opportunities. What we have done, we have looked at the master plan and say, what is it that you can invest in terms of opportunities? So we have a master plan in the city of Bulawayo, and the master plan is just a strategic urban planning document which actually outlines the long-term vision for the development and growth of the city, which is an operative master plan that we have. The journey to this master plan that I'm talking about started way back when the city, when Bulawayo was declared a city around 1980, when we got our independence. That was the first master plan that we had, and up to the latest one, which was gazetted in 2024, and it became an operative master plan in July 2024. Here we are just showing you some of the sections or sectors or areas in the master plan where you can do your investment and the spaces which are available in the city. One might ask and say, why do you talk about master plan? What is it that the master plan is bringing to investors? The master plan, it ensures the availability of suitable land for investment. That's the document. When you look at the master plan, it will show you the land which is suitable for investment. And we are very excited that our master plan was approved a year ago. It also shows us, it established what I can call forward thinking or forward management for Bulawayo. We know that when you want to achieve your goals, you need to know where you are going. Clearly, the master plan actually shows us where we are going as a city. The implementation metrics of the master plan, these are the major projects which we now have after the approval of the master plan. The first one is the redevelopment of the major transport terminals. We have already started with Egodini, but still we have Erenkini, which is the oldest terminus in the city. We are looking for investors to come and redevelop Erenkini. We also have the oldest suburb, Makokoba. It's very old. It's one of the oldest suburbs, and we are saying we want to do what we call city regeneration or redevelopment of Makokoba. There is the Ascot race course, which is many people have come forward expressing some interest. It is also part of the master plan where we want to develop that place and have a new city, so to say. We also have, we have also included in the master plan the construction of sports stadiums, construction of truck stops, a number of commercial parks have been identified in the master plan, even schools. Here I'm also looking at private schools, even government schools. We have provided those things under the master plan. We are also happy to say that in the city, we have done what we call layout plans. Those layout plans, like which are already in place for Umvumila. Umvumila, we are looking at about 189 hectares of land where we want to develop an industrial park, and we are saying you can be one of those who can also invest in that area. Kilani, we have some stands, low density stands, a number of people when we're discussing, inviting them for this conference, they were asking about residential stand. Here are some of the places where you can then think around residential stand. I have already mentioned the construction of the main bus terminals like Ekodini, the construction of clinics. I have already indicated those plans. But when you look at these plans, we have prioritized the plans, and we are saying we want to do urban design schemes for commercial and business parks within a short to medium term, and then urban design schemes for the CBD, taking into account the changes in the economic structure of the city. We are also doing some preparations of detailed layout plans, construction of new sanitary landfill, which is also key in our thinking as a city. To be a smart city, we need those projects. And we are also thinking of having road upgrading. Here in Harare, we have met some people. When we talk about roads, everyone was pointing us to the famous Trabablas bridge. So in Bulawayo, we are also thinking about upgrading, having our own bridge, and you can be one of them who is going to construct that bridge for Bulawayo. These are some of the plans that we have under the master plan. But again, when you look at all these plans that I have talked about under the master plan, these plans, they require funding. And here we are looking at patient funding, where we long-term financing, and we are willing to engage all investors, be it under private-public partnerships, because council on its own cannot fund some of these projects that I have highlighted. But we believe that when we talk to you, our diasporians, you will assist the council in mobilizing revenue or in mobilizing funds to invest in these big projects. We have invited some companies, banks, insurance, so that they can also highlight some of these projects which are very key in the city. When you look at the city of Bulawayo, there are certain things that are very clear when you look at the economic structure of the city of Bulawayo. We have tried to group businesses into sectors. We have about 15 sectors which are very key in the city of Bulawayo, and these are, we have mining, beef and leather sector, we have textile and clothing, we have rubber and plastic, agro industries, pharmaceutical, transport logistics, wood, furniture, mineral value addition. Here we are looking at maybe having those companies which are dealing with gold, processing gold into finished products. Then we also have energy, and then energy and tourism. I think this one, his worship, he mentioned it, and he actually highlighted that there are some opportunities around tourism. And then the other sector which is also critical is printing and packaging. These are the main sectors that you will find in the city of Bulawayo, where you can then invest in these sectors. So then one will ask and say, why should I invest in Bulawayo? Some of them, they will want some incentives, what we call incentives. If you look at as a country, nationally, we have different incentives which are provided. But as a city, we are saying you come and invest in Bulawayo because Bulawayo, in terms of skilled manpower, I think we are the only city which is exporting skills to other cities, Bulawayo. If you look at the colleges or universities that we have in Bulawayo in terms of skills, we have NAST, we have Lupane, we have Bulawayo Polytech, we have the Roman Catholic University, we have Solusi not very far from Bulawayo. I think we are leading in terms of skills, so we are not short of skills. So when you also look at governance issues, each time when we are inviting some people saying come and for this investment conference, one of the things that they were highlighting was that at least in Bulawayo there is order and there is good governance. That's our strength. When we give you a piece of land, you don't expect a bulldozer to come and destroy it after a month. That is Bulawayo. So, which means that our system or our governance structure, we really follow the rule of law. But again, I should also emphasize that because we fall, it becomes a disadvantage again. Because people will say Bulawayo is slow in terms of processing, application, because we will be following what? The rule of law. Following each step, we don't want to jump any steps, and then we are caught and say, okay, you are very slow, but if you compare yourself with this other town that I don't want to mention, maybe they do things fast, but then after a month, we see bulldozers following. So that's another thing, that when you invest in Bulawayo, you know exactly that this is a city to invest in. But what we have also seen in Bulawayo is a new trend that we want to correct. In Bulawayo, if you look at the structure of our industries, Bulawayo is a heavy industry. It's big companies which are operating in Bulawayo. And those companies in Bulawayo, they were created to do export. They are supposed to be export-oriented. We are supposed to be exporting to other cities because of our railway network or our transport connectivity. But the trend that we have seen now is that some people are now thinking that Bulawayo is a wholesaling town. If we are now thinking of saying you want to come to Bulawayo to do wholesaling, Bulawayo is not a wholesaling town. But Bulawayo is a manufacturing city where we manufacture and then export to other cities. You will find that if you look at the current companies which are there, like Asha, for example. Asha is a very big company which manufactures clothes, material and clothing, very big company manufacturing clothes. But the market for that company is not for Bulawayo only. is for other cities like Harare, Gweru, and even beyond our borders. This is exactly what we think maybe going forward we need to understand the economic structure of the city. We have the energy sector, which is very critical. In the past, we had our power station, which was producing almost 120 megawatts, but now it's no longer there. So we now need to then rethink about new ways of generating our own energy. And we are now marketing some solar farms where we want to develop solar farms. And then we are also trying to encourage even our residents to put solar at their homes so that we save energy for the industry. So those are some of the projects under energy. And it's available. If you want these projects, I will also explain how you can and then venture into these programs. And solar robots, we want to have these solar robots and have PPPs with you. If you come to Bulawayo, we don't want to be a dark city. So this is how we want to Bulawayo. Maybe if you come and invest in Bulawayo, Bulawayo will be like this. Then roads. I have heard about roads. Of course, I've already explained this is what we want to see in Bulawayo happening. I don't know what we will call it, but this is what we want to see. Imagine yourself going to Bulawayo, going to Nkulumani in that kind of fashion. We have our Luveve Road, we have our Country Park corridor, and this is how we want to develop Bulawayo. And these projects are still available for you to tap into. And we also want to do away with potholes, which most people always talk about potholes. Underwater and water and wastewater management, we have projects where we want to deal with recycling for industrial use, and we also have other projects like the treatment plants, which we want to construct, and then these are some of the projects which are key in underwater and sanitation. We really want a smart city. On recycling, on healthy, we have different projects that we want to deal with. We have investment opportunities in the health sector where we talk about medical tourism. I know that in other places you will be told, like in Harare here, they always say, go to Karanda Hospital. We want people to be coming to Bulawayo and say, go to Bulawayo. If you are having a challenge with dialysis, go to Bulawayo, and because we'll have modern facilities under healthy tourism. And then we also are talking about a conversion of solid waste into energy. And this is a key project which we want to embark in the short term, and is still available, and we will be putting some tender for these projects. Solar, already some of these solar projects in our clinics, we have put solar to make sure that all our clinics have got solar. But other council institutions, we still need energy there. Mining and beneficiation, the mining sector, we are talking about a value addition, and we are the only city with a school of mines. For Zimbabwe, if you want to be trained in the school of mines, it's Bulawayo. So we want to leverage on the school of mines so that at least we do minerals beneficiation in the city, and then also dealing with equipment which is required to do mining. We want to do that in Bulawayo. Housing and housing sector. The goal of the city is to have low-cost houses for our people, especially those with low-income groups. We want low-cost housing, and we, like I said before, We are looking at regeneration, city regeneration, places like Makokoba, Mzilikazi. We want to uplift those areas. And then we are also encouraging smart housing schemes, where you also take into account the environmental issues, where you also take into account those high-rising buildings. These are some of the things that we are working on. And then servicing of stands. In the city, we don't just dish land which is not serviced. We work with private sector who are doing servicing of our stands, and I'm sure one of the players in this sector will come here and explain to you how they've been working with the city of Bulawayo, and you'll be able to see the pictures, the good work that they've done in terms of housing, servicing of stands. So, which is very key, and this is the smart housing development that we want to see. The green part, the green aspect, taking into account the environmental issues. This is what we want. We are dreaming that Makokoba one day will look like those flats, and it's possible if our sons and daughters are also participating in the development of the city. Let me go back to this one because it's very important. This one is the plan. When we talk about Ascot, we want sort of a new town in the city. This is how in picture we can see our dream of a new Ascot there, which is also provided in our master plan. The agro-processing is also critical. We are saying those who want to do, like I have already indicated, that we want to be exporting to other areas in terms of agriculture. And I'm happy that in this room, we have Ingwebu, one of our companies, which is already doing value addition. So when the city council talks about value addition, Ingwebu is getting sorghum from our farm, and then they process it and sell the final product, which is a traditional beer. They call it cream tartar. Cream what? Tartar. Yes, and I'm sure today you will taste the cream tartar, but don't start consuming it now. You will consume it after the workshop. Yeah. So that's an example of value addition which we want to promote in the city. So that at least we do value addition. As a local authority, we have already started doing value addition in terms of sorghum and up to the cream tartar and other shake it, and then other products that we have. So those are some of the projects under that. And then we also have a farm for the city council. I'm sure some of you last tasted the high quality beef when you were still in Bulawayo. That farm is still there with about 500 animals. I've heard about another organization, I think is here, where they are talking about a bank where you can bank your animals. We are saying, come, let's talk and see how we can leverage on these animals to also develop our farm and do value addition. Tourism, I have already indicated. Most of you always have challenges when you come for trade fair. In terms of accommodation, you'll be saying accommodation is very expensive, but we are thinking of a 5-star hotel in Bulawayo. We are also looking at other areas which needs development, like Ingwala site. I know you have been some of you have been in Chaga Center in South Africa. And then this is the kind of thinking that we want for Ingwala site, where you can develop into this site, into a heritage site like Ingwala, Chaga Center in South Africa. This is exactly what we want to do. We have other places, the infrastructure, the sport economy, which is a very big thing when we talk about sporting. We have Papa Field Stadium, which is our center, our stadium, which is very big. But that stadium also we need the bucket seats. I'm told this side in Harare, they've already started moving to, they've completed, I think, National Sports Stadium in Rufar. But for you to talk about sports economy in Bulawayo, we need your investment, especially for Papa Field Stadium. And the other stadiums which we have got a very big stadium for hockey, and that is very critical that you also identify these stadiums and also promote and bring investment to this infrastructure. Transport sector, we have already talked about the terminuses which we want, but we also want improved maybe transport for passengers. Like we want tram buses that we want want you to invest in those buses, be it rail transport. We want it to be efficient so that at least we move our people. This is what we want for Bulawayo. Nice buses, and it's not the city council which will bring these buses, but it is you, the sons and daughters of Bulawayo, who should also bring these things. This program on special economic zone is a program which started some years ago, or almost 10 years ago, when we have been talking about special economic zone. In Bulawayo, we have identified prime land for this program. And that prime land is Umvumila, a place, and Umvumila, which I actually indicated that Umvumila is about 188 hectares of land where we want to do an industrial park. Some of the sectors that we think can be accommodated under Umvumila are these ones. We want ICT innovation parks. We want pharmaceutical, car assembly, and then beef and leather industries. And we also are interested in those who are going to provide energy in that area, in Umvumila, so that at least those companies can be able to get a consistent supply of energy. So this is just a map showing where Umvumila, this is just our dream picture of how the site will look like when you have come to invest in Bulawayo. And then we are also talking about a development of industrial park, which is at Umvumila. Then we are also looking at inland port for those who want to bring bulk, the raw material. We are also looking for that. And then the infrastructure around Umvumila area, where we want roads, rail connections, and this even ICT, we want that. The development bank for Bulawayo, I think it would be good to say I bank with the development bank of what? Of Bulawayo one day. And this is our dream, to have a bank for Bulawayo, and maybe these other banks which are already here, will work with them and they will assist us in maybe forging some partnerships and also have something like that for Bulawayo. And this is some of the things that we will do to develop Bulawayo. Now, in conclusion, I have already highlighted some of the opportunities which are there in Bulawayo. But one might ask and say, what are some of the steps that you take? And maybe from this conference, what are we going to do? The first thing that we are planning to do, maybe up to August, we'll be putting some a call for expressions of interest on various opportunities that we have. That's the first step. When we call for expressions of interest, we expect you, the investors, to respond to those call of expressions that we are going to do. And then we'll also take these expressions, we analyze them until we submit them to ZITA for approval. These are some of the steps that we'll be following, and we The most important one is the first one, where we are saying all these expressions of interest that we are receiving or that we are talking about, like Ascot race course, will be putting some expressions or call for expressions of interest or tender so that you will also participate in these expressions of interest, and then will be in line with the government regulations. Otherwise, thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation.
Anything that tickles your fancy there, Prince? Anything that you like there?
So these are part of what we want to do as a Zimbabwe Tea Association. If I may wear the jacket of the entrepreneur. For the last 3 years, we have developed a startup that operates in plastic recycling. And part of what we were doing was turning HDPE waste into different, shall I say, at concept stage, we're just experimenting with what this can do. And we managed to create cricket beds, we managed to create benches from plastic waste that we're picking in and around Bulawayo. And at this stage, this was more experimental than anything else. So at this juncture, I've got a few questions that I would also need answered by our
by the council.
Yes.
Okay, just hold on to them. Okay, right. Yeah, I'm going right where you are now. I just thought I would ask you what of interest was it to you there. But allow me at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, to call upon the gentlemen of the jury, I shall call them. Allow me to call upon Engineer Sikumba.
Director of Water and Sanitation.
Salbonani, igama Dr. Khumalo, Director of Housing and Community Services.
Siyabonga Mbulazi.
Salbonani, igama Wisdom Siziba, Director of Town Planning, enkhangela Spatial Planning, Land Management, ukuhlela idolobho ukuthi liya ngaphi.
Salbonani njalo. Mina igama lami Kholisani Moyo. Kobulawayo bathi nguSido. Kusitsho ukuthi City Economic Development Officer yimi engikhangele ngomnotho wakobulawayo.
Siyabonga baba. Asibachayeleni izandla njalo bakithi. Anje lizulu Mpunzi lapha uthe uyisisebenzi senu. Anjo Mpunzi uyisisebenzi somewhere. So I want to give the young man an opportunity quickly to just ask his questions, and then we open the floor, because you are there to work on whatever the investors want to find out, and also additional information that you may have from what Usido has given us as the opportunities that Bulawayo holds. My brother, please just stand up again and reintroduce yourself for their benefit so they know who you are exactly.
The name is Kholisani Moyo. I've got 2 questions and just one request. Firstly, I would like to understand what the Bulawayo City Council is doing in terms of waste management, particularly solid waste management, and seeing that there is also investment in housing that is coming into play. What are we doing in that arena? And then I would like to understand how Bulawayo City Council is nurturing startups, business startups, go Bulawayo, in as far as the ecosystem is concerned. And lastly, for investment purposes, may I request to receive a copy of the master plan? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to know what plans the city has got in terms of energy provision. I think what we have seen is that the struggle, local authorities generally struggle to pay ZESA, for example. They owe the utility large sums of money in terms of electricity. So I just wanted to find out whether the city has considered setting up its own electricity supply for purposes of supplying itself and obviously then reducing dependence on ZESA. Thank you.
In terms of solid waste management, we have currently what we call a hybrid system. First, the industrial centers. If you are an industrialist, you collect your waste and you bring it to a landfill, a sanitary landfill, probably one of the few in the country that are certified to be a sanitary landfills. And then it will be weighed because we have a weigh bridge, and then you pay the appropriate fee. We do not collect from industrial sites solid waste. But from commercial centers, we collect. The ideal situation is that we have to do it daily, but due to some challenges here and there, we are doing it at least 3 times a week. Then from residential areas, that is door to door, from your doorstep, we endeavor to collect weekly, and we charge that within the municipal bill. Then we collect that waste and take it to the landfill that I have referred to earlier and dispose of it in a sanitary manner, resources and equipment permitting. Then there are people who have instituted recycling methods or recovery methods. The triple C, the triple R, where you reduce the production of waste and you recycle and maybe, what is it? Yeah, you reclaim and recycle. So those 3. So there are some institutions that are helping us in doing that, inclusive of separation of waste at source. This is, we know, it occurs well for those that would want a particular type of waste when it's separated at source rather than sorting it out after it has been disposed of at the landfill. When it comes to investment, the investment opportunities exist from collection. There are people without bins or refuse receptacles. So those people may want to be assisted, or someone may want to partner with us in provision of waste receptacles. Then there is also the cutting, that is the carrying of the waste to the landfill or disposal sites. So we have a partnership currently with we call them community trackers. These trackers, they have their trucks parked in various places or doing various odd jobs here and there. And then at least once a week, they are given a task to actually collect waste at designated households and send it to a point where a waste transfer station, where they put the waste into a council compactor, and the council compactor will then take it to the disposal site. This we did because the number of compactors that we require, which currently stands at about 18, meaning the old and the new. But on average, because of breakdowns or frequent breakdowns, we have between 9 and 10. On a very good day, we may have 11. So we are still doing that joint or blended method, all because our refuse compactors are too few. So there are opportunities in cutting the waste, and the people will be paid per tonnage. Currently, we have one contractor who, at best, gives us 3 refuse compactors a day, and they're paid using tonnage to actually cut the waste to the disposal sites. So then the third part is the waste to energy. When it comes to waste to energy, we are going to advertise very soon. And when we advertise, we would want those that have capacity to actually respond. And they will follow the steps that were outlined by the City Economic Development Officer in his presentation. And we hope the best bidder will come forward. And then there will be few, if the proposals that we have read, assuming we've been told the truth, indicate that less than 10% of the waste will find its way to the landfill. Therefore, the landfill that we have may not really be necessary if we have a waste-to-energy plant in the city. Because, like I said earlier, we are weighing the solid waste that finds its way to the landfill. If one wants the figures of the tonnage of landfill, the tonnage of waste that gets to the landfill, that can be provided. And we are required by law to once, at least in 5 years, conduct a waste-to-energy characterization study. And we are working on conducting one either late this year or early next year, because it is now overdue. And for that, we usually partner our institutions of higher learning, the NAST and Bulawayo Polytech, because they train environmental health practitioners. So we tend to use them or work with them in that characterization study, because that way you get to know what kind of waste you will be dealing with, whether you want to recycle or convert to energy. I think I'll leave it at that for now. And if there are any questions, I'm available.
Thank you very much.
I will respond on the issue of alternative sources of energy. As we speak now, the city has flighted a tender on the provision of a solar power generation plant on a 23-hectare area within the Pelandaba Cemetery. But now, at the moment, I may not shed much light, since the tender process is ongoing and is closing around the mid of August.
When we're talking of nurturing business startups, maybe also it hinges also on formalizing the informality, because those are the thoughts that have come and the businesses want to start working. Because I'm just speaking from what Nkomo was saying earlier on, that once that thought is there, it has to be developed. And the city has created some enabling environment for such, because as a city in the history, when you look at it, we've got incubators that are there, so that people can be incubated just like an egg. Then you grow up and you are offered another stand. Then you are able to stand on your own. So those will be the, and also the city also provide safe working spaces so that people can also start working. They will have got those spaces to work on. And there's also a room for investment that can come from yourselves. Because recently we advertised the Bactas so that people can come and provide those safe working spaces for the informal sector. Then the city also has provided a hub at Darkmoor in conjunction with the parent ministry and the UN Habitat. So we've provided a hub where all the startup people are expected also to go there for training. We provide training, and it's a hub where they meet the Zimbra people, they meet all other stakeholders who are interested in that, so that they are trained and they are able to start their businesses. And as a city again, we move and train them on procurement rules and procurement processes, so that they also able to participate in these procurement processes, because some of their businesses will be on that. And not so long, just 3 weeks ago, we had an exhibition where we're saying those who are starting the businesses, come and exhibit, get the market, show yourself, so that we work. And the city also has provided also has got also a decentralization strategy, so that we don't look for those that have come to the city center. Even those that are in the suburban, we pick them up. I thank you.
Thank you. So for a startup business, we give you an option to lease land while you mobilize money to purchase your own place. And we hope abantu they will grow, because we have experienced some who want to be incubated in perpetuity. But our encouragement is that you get incubated and then get out of the factory shells and go into bigger spaces, open space for others who also want to start up. So that is what we are doing. But then on the last question, which was on corruption, just to say that the city has zero tolerance to corruption, be it on its staff or the policymakers. The allegations that were made reference to, they remain allegations as of now. The matter is still before the courts. We have allowed the law to take its course with no interference from the city. So we will be guided by the courts of law. The matter is still sub judice. So I think we don't stand in the way of the law if it happens that people believe that certain actions should be taken. However, to strengthen our systems against such, we have developed an integrity and ethics policy that is ready for adoption by the city. We have been discussing it over time. And we also have established an integrity committee on the advice of ZAC. This committee is set up already so that we can, as an institution, instill the value of integrity within staff and councillors and everyone involved. And so that when we deal with our stakeholders, we deal with them with integrity. And we also, like I said earlier in my opening remarks, we have said the audit and risk function should be set up now as a department. It was a section in the town clerk's department until now, but to strengthen it and make it more visible, we have just upgraded it, I think it's last month, to a department level, so that we can strengthen those processes. And we have employed in that department even forensic auditors, so that they can deal with some of the white-collar crimes that can happen within an institution like ours. We're an institution with all sorts of professions and a huge staff establishment. So it is possible to find a few, some bad apples here and there, but it's about what we do when we do find out these things. We always deal with the matters, and in terms of staff, you can be assured that staff will be dealt with in terms of the conditions of service, and most of them who are caught on the wrong side have been dealt with. And for those, maybe, I think the one that was in the papers a lot was the fuel scandal as well, which concerned a staff member. The staff member has since been dismissed from council. But however, the matter is still pending before the courts because ZAC also decided to press criminal charges of abuse of office. So it's still pending, but from the city side, the employer side, they have dealt with that case. And the case involving the deputy mayor and finance chairperson is pending before the courts, and we'll let the law take its course in that regard. So we're trying to do preventive measures, strengthen our policies, plug loopholes that will encourage such, but if it happens, we'll deal with it in terms of the law.
Thank you. I'll just give a background information on what is happening on the aspect of housing. Generally, is focusing on low-income housing, and then housing for those in the mid-income sector and high income. So with regards to the low-income housing, I just want to share with the House the projects and programs that are currently underway in the city of Bulawayo. we have RE of Mganwini, which is quite a hectic area in terms of housing activity taking place at the moment. We have got 6,000 stands that are being delivered by our partners, where this land was acquired through tendering. We tender out land to contractors who service to meet the requirements and expectations of council. So we've got ongoing servicing of 6,000 stands that is currently underway. So once these stands have been fully serviced, that's when they are going to be sold. They are sold once a certificate of completion has been given by our Director of Works to confirm that the servicing activity has been done satisfactory in compliance with the designs that were provided and to meet the engineering standards required. So within the same sector, we have got Luveve. There's a project that has been underway, is complete. We are going to hear because the contractor who is involved there is amongst us here. The project has been successfully done, and the allocations ensues after servicing has been done. We have got no tracks with the over 2,000 stands where servicing is currently underway. We also have got a project in Country Park with 1,000 stands. So I am saying these things so that legal challenges by contractors were happy to report that these have been resolved, and the yellow machines will be soon back on the ground so that we deliver the stands on the outstanding projects. And then within the medium income sector, we have got a project that is 100% complete in Machula. I'm sure when you are entering Bulawayo by road, on your right from cement siding, you will see a project that is being professionally done in terms of the servicing. So work has been completed there. A certificate of completion has just been given. So those stands will also be sold. They present an opportunity to residents and those outside to come and purchase these stands as they are ready for selling. All we require is that the prospective purchaser is in the council housing waiting list, and only your money is required to acquire those stands. And then maybe let me also indicate that we also work with our partners. If we look at Bulawayo as a province, we want to conscientize the House that there are other big projects that are underway. We have got King City, which has got 8,000 stands. Although it's not within the Greater Bulawayo in terms of our area of jurisdiction, it's an adjacent project that is within the Greater Province of Bulawayo. So we want to mention this project because it presents investment opportunities in housing in Bulawayo. We have also Hopelin and Hopeville projects where stands are available for sale. Let me emphasize that we do have stands that are ready and available. You can purchase them in Bulawayo. We can provide information on those. And then before I end, let me also indicate that there are future areas that have been planned and designated for housing that are ready, and they will also be be tendered out in terms of our method of housing delivery to our partners. And for those that are contractors, these present investment opportunities. So we've got areas that are coming up in Killarney East, in High Mount. These are low density type of stands. We've got Umvimila and the B2 of Bellevue. So these are projects that are coming in the short horizon. And also, we have got flat sites. You know that in terms of our settlement policy in the country, a certain percentage of land, which is 40% in all layouts, should be reserved for flat development. So we have got this land that is ready for flat development to accommodate our social housing. So these are investment prospects that are coming in the horizon, and those that are contractors look forward to this type of program projects being tendered out. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that elaborate explanation.
Umbuzo wami uqondana lo umphathi wesikhwama umbonzi. Ngibona ubaba uKholisa kwathinta ngokuthi ndizama ukuthi lani IT ingani yaba lisezingeni eliphezulu. So I've got a personal experience. Ngeke ngabona kulesikhathi council besithi siyakhona ukuthi siregister ukuthi sithola ama statements ethu via email benge WhatsApp. So la ngahamba through that process ngathumezela i-email. Mbona so umnyaka namhlanje lokho emele i-statement sami ukuthi sibuye via email.
Good afternoon. My name is Kholisani Moyo. Our is to do with the water situation in the country. I will go to what the mayor's his worship said in the morning. He said that the city has been approved to build a new dam. I've forgotten the name of the dam. Glass block. Okay. My question is, from my understanding is that the Bulawayo supply dams have got to a stage where they are now mud as a result of sedimentation. If I'm correct, they haven't been cleared for a long time. So why start a new project when you can rehabilitate what you have? The reason why I'm saying that, the mayor said that Kwai Shangani Dam will be ready, if I'm not mistaken, he mentioned something like 30 or so years to come. I can't quite remember. We've been told that Kwai Shangani Dam is coming. For some of us who are away from material, when we see on TV, when we read in the press, is that what we are told that Kwai Shangani Dam will be supplying water to the city maybe in the next 3-4 years, for a long time now. The 3 years do come. But now, Mayor is telling us that it will take quite some time for Kwai Shangani Dam to come. Can you please clarify to us as to exactly what's going on in terms of dealing with siltation in the dams, in terms of Kwai Shangani? Ikona yini siqalisile ukuze siphonge ukutshela into ezingekho. Iumbuzo.
Yes, the first question relates to funding of projects. It's true, as a council, funding of projects is very expensive. Accessing funds in the market, as a local authority, the practice or the tradition has been to access long-term loans. loans which the future generation is supposed to contribute in terms of repayment, because they would have what benefited from the investment that would have been done by their elders. But these days, loans are very expensive, and the tenure from the financiers is very short. As a local authority, we cannot burden the ratepayers in terms of very expensive capital and short-tenured capital. So what we are doing as a local authority is to ask the beneficiaries, especially relating to housing that was being talked to by the Director of Housing. We are into pre-sale. It's a situation where we ask the beneficiaries to pay for the stands in advance. Then we utilize those funds to service the area. We had a terrible experience. There was change of currency. Those who paid in local currency, all the money was wiped out. So council had to look for ways of ensuring that the project does not stall. The other option or the other plan is to get into a joint venture with land developers. We come in with land, then the land developer looks for money to service the area. I think those are the two schemes that were actively involved in terms of ensuring that the locals get land. Then there was a question on e-billing. Yes, we flighted an advert asking our ratepayers to supply us with information and also register online. But we had a technical glitch. We flighted an advert because of power outage. We had a terrible experience. We had our router bent out. Our switch was also bent out. So there was a time when our system was down. But the process is ongoing. We are also encouraging our ratepayers to come forward and register. Currently, we are on 48% in terms of registering our ratepayers. I know the question is, how do you get to 40-something percent? This is arrived at considering that we have got about 186,000 ratepayers or accounts. So we've done about 40-something percent. The whole idea is to cover as much ground as possible. Then we get to a point where we say, with effect from, say, January 2026, no more papers. We are no longer printing bills. We are doing e-billing. I don't know whether there is another part of the question that I left out.
The consumer who says he has been waiting for a year for his e-statement, it fell through the cracks, but like we are hearing, some are now receiving them, and we would like to engage you even as you are here so that we take your details properly and you start receiving your e-statement. We had also moved forward to include on our website so that you can access your statements on our website. It's at an advanced stage, and we hope consumers will soon be assessing. If you log into our website and into our account, and you'll be able then to access your statements. And then before Engineer Ncube Skhumbuzo comes on about the water situation and the siltation of the dams, I would like to state that maybe in terms of the current legislation, the construction of dams and water bodies lies with the Ministry of Water, sometimes through the agency IZINWA. So the Kwai Shangani Dam is a government project. We will look if we have colleagues from the Ministry of Water, Fisheries and Agriculture. We will look and we will provide, they may come with, as Funikuba Juma, we may ask them to give us the correct timelines for Kwai Shangani. It is not a council project, it is a government project. Gas block dam is also equally not a council project, but by the private sector. And council, being the major beneficiary, is in support of both projects. And we currently in the process of signing purchase agreements with the two entities that are constructing gas block dam and also Kwai Shangani. We are just signing to show investors that we are a potential consumer. We are prepared to consume the water. But in terms of the current Water Act, we are not into the construction of dams. Yes, the 5 supply dams, minus Mchabezi, they were constructed by the city before the current Water Act, which came into effect in 1976, came into effect. After that, local authorities no longer construct dams. It is under the purview of the ministry and through ZINWA. So if they are here, colleagues from ZINWA or from Ministry of Water, we ask that you make contact so that we can, maybe in the course of the day, give accurate statistics about the completion of the dams. But as Bulawayo residents, we eagerly await the completion of both dams, as our water sources have become inadequate for the growing population. The last dam that was added to the city was Mchabezi, and it's about 15 or so years ago. And before Mchabezi, the last one had been done. It was the expansion of Insiza Mayfair, and which had been done in 1976. So you can see the population growth doesn't match the construction of the dams. But we appreciate these 2 projects, gas block dam and the Kwai Shangani Lake, that the government is undertaking. And so that we can't speak with authority on the completion date for Kwai Shangani. We'll ask our colleagues to speak on that. Ngube, you can talk about whether the dams are silted.
Maybe on a bit of information on our supply dams. We are currently at almost 42% in terms of our dam storage, volume-wise. The only other time our dams have spilled was in 2017. That is the only other time our dams recorded 100%. Ever since, our dam storage levels have been going down every other year. To current state, actually, we didn't surpass the 60% mark at the peak of our rain season in March this year. That's why we have almost been in perpetual water shedding for the last 5-6 years as a city. There was mention of silting of our dams. Generally, our dams are not silted. It can be a phenomenon that can start happening now because of the upstream activities of mining that is currently going on, artisanal mining. It's only now we might start worrying about that. But we have structures that deal with that. We have sub-catchment councils within the structure of managing catchments and water resources in the country that are assist with those kind of activities. I'm a council member of one of those, and I'm live to what is happening on the ground. In terms of the situation for the city in terms of water, it's bad. It's dire, actually. It's no good walking a thin line every other year, and you have to budget with the little that is there as a city. Hence the need for us to consider other sources of water. The other sources of water that are there, we have Inyamenlovu, which is also a government project under ZINWA. We have continuously engaged to enhance or rather optimize the use of groundwater, to blend it with our groundwater sources that we have south of the city. We are also looking at ways of harnessing the Imachamhlope aquifer. They've got good groundwater there. And they usually don't have much strain in terms of alternative sources of water. Our chairman's at 30-40 meters if you have a good driller there. So we are looking at those kind of alternatives as well. We've mentioned the glass block. It's not within our purview, but we are an interested party in it, and we are currently engaging the investors and the vehicles that are to do with the investment of that project. We are looking to receive, if it gets constructed and commissioned, between 65 and 70 million liters of water. To give you a perspective of what that means, as a city, we're currently demanding 165 million liters of water a day. But we are struggling around 100, 90, 110 sometimes. So we've got a huge shortfall of water there in terms of supply. So if that then comes on board or online, it will cover that gap. You mentioned of Kholisani, 240 million liters of water are going to come out of that dam, or rather that lake. And around 120, 140 should come our way towards Country Park, where a treatment plant is going to be set up, delivered on a 253-kilometer pipeline from Kholisani. So under the current circumstances, our situation is bad, but we are hopeful that these two projects, whatever the timelines they are, should actually give us relief in terms of water supply. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Shall we give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for shielding these questions? Some were very tough, some curveballs that I saw there, but thank you so much for clarifying and taking time. The idea is that you know who they are. When you now want to come and invest in Bulawayo, you've got questions about money, about planning, about the economic activity that's happening in Bulawayo. So please, let's just encourage them as they take off to their seats again. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.